third round of the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries presented by Cooper Tires. Tonight's challenge in the virtual world, the 7th 8th mile Iowa Speedway. We've got racers from all three levels of the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. USF 2000, Indy Pro, and Indy Lights. They'll all face off against an extremely talented group of Road to Indy prospects. We started the season 2 weeks ago at Road America, and then our eSeries racers were forced to survive the tight confines of Belle Isle in Detroit last week. Road to Indy prospect Max Esterson leads the point standings coming into the middle of the schedule here tonight. Fresh off a win in the second race of the doubleheader last Wednesday. Autosports Braden Eves also won in Detroit to keep things interesting. Hello everyone, this is Rob Howden, and I'm joined in the Cooper Tire broadcast booth once again by Peter McKay. And Peter, tonight is going to be a lot different. In the first two rounds of the series, we're going oval racing, and as we can already see on the screen, as qualifying's underway, these drivers are getting at it.
Yeah, do not adjust your sets, ladies and gentlemen. This is qualifying, not the race, but it sure looks like one, doesn't it? Of course, the drivers jostling for position right now, trying to beat out just that perfect lap time. Of course, we're only 20-minute sprint races tonight, two 20-minute races, so it's going to be a huge amount of fun. And Rob, what I'm looking forward to tonight is that we've got a completely new challenge. We've done road course, we've done a street course, but tonight it's going to be the one where patience really pays off.
Yeah, most definitely by design, of course, here with the program we put together. And, starting things off at the Road America, the iconic track, the natural terrain road course. Again, went to Detroit, the street circuit last Wednesday. Something totally different here. Not a short track either. A lot of these drivers will race at Lucas Oil Raceway, the 5/8 mile oval, during the Indy 500 weekend in Indiana. But, man, this is a much different challenge. 7/8 of a mile. An unbelievably quick racetrack. They call it the world's fastest short track, Iowa Speedway. One of my favorites when we're there with either Indy Lights. A couple years ago, we had USF 2000 there as well. But there with the NTT IndyCar Series. Always a lot of fun, a tremendous racetrack. But Peter, let's you and I kind of sit back here right now. Greg DeGeorgis from Symmetric not able to join us here this particular weekend for his keys of the race. So let's you and I get into it here for this midweek event. For you, you had a chance to drive Iowa Speedway a little in the sim. People may think that running on the oval is pretty simple, but it really is its own unique discipline.
It is absolutely. It is just so much more difficult than it may look because every single lap is different. You're on a different line. Your tires are going off constantly as well, and you'll see the drivers. We've seen them already in qualifying, moving around from side to side quite a lot, trying to get themselves that little bit of clean air. Now, normally you would think, oh, oval racing is about drafting, but actually here at Iowa, with it being such a short circuit, you don't want to get too close to the car in front because you'll get what that horrible, dreaded aero wash or the Bermuda Triangle of grip where it just disappears and you can end up in the wall. The other factor for me, Rob, is not getting in contact, because if you do even make a slight bit of contact, your day's done.
Yeah, bottom line, Peter, is you have to be patient here right now, especially in the opening couple laps. You're going to find out and size up the drivers you're racing with. Where are they giving you room? How are things kind of shaking down that way? If you find yourself getting too aggressive early, like you said, contact sends you off into the wall pretty quickly. So the drivers who are going to hold their heads early are the ones that are going to be able to come out front in both of our double headers here today. Folks, we have our Fast 6 drivers out on the racetrack right now, and as they wrap up qualifying, let's now head to IndyCar Ministries' Jason Holt with the invocation, followed by the national anthem.
Let's pray. God, thank you so much for the blessing of another day of life, and God, for technology, just that we can gather in this way, and God, for these drivers to be able to utilize the amazing talents that you've blessed them with. We just pray over today's events that God, all would go smooth, the technology would work well, and these drivers can enjoy.
Peter will detail the top 6 coming out,
Lord, in a time where we frankly just all need to smile a little bit more. God, we just thank you so much for the blessing of your Son, Jesus Christ, in whose name I pray. Amen.
So, we buy shoes online, and socks, and shoe socks, and baby food, dog food, parrot food, gardening tools, art supplies, college classes, scarf, the scarf tube, sleeping bag suit? Yeah. So why not buy tires online? TireRack.com is North America's largest online retailer of tires. Find, buy, then have them shipped to one of our trusted independent installers for safe, easy installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Online, with all that other stuff.
Welcome back to Iowa Speedway and the third stop on the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries presented by Cooper Tires. We say hello to those of you watching on Rev TV up in Canada. My name's Rob Howden, joined in the booth here by Peter McKay. Fast six qualifying essentially rolling here, Peter. Top six drivers out of the qualifying run. They split qualifying into two groups of 15. The fast group from practice was in the second group. The six quickest then get their own session to see where they're going to start the opening round. Andre Castro currently up top in the number 77. Daniel Frost, who we'll see in Indy Lights this year with Andretti Autosport in the second spot in the 68. Simon Sykes, who will be back for a full season in USF 2000 with Legacy Autosport and Emirati Autosport currently third. Max Kaiser fourth, Josh Green fifth, and Bryson Morris, one of our RTI prospects, in the sixth spot. A really cool cross-section of drivers who are now kind of working together out on the track going through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's getting very busy out there on screen, as you can see. Josh Green leading the pack here at the moment. Josh is sitting in 5th position on the grid as it stands. But, you know, with the drivers being so close together, as you can see, that can change in a flash. At the moment, Andre Castro looking set to take that pole award, the symmetric pole award, but we'll need to see. Yep, looks like it's going to be Andre Castro.
That was pretty close at the end there. Daniel Frost doing what he could do to potentially get a tow there from Bryson Morris and Josh Green at the end. Didn't quite play out for him. And indeed, as you said, Andre Castro, who again is trying to put together a program to run this year in USF 2000 with Legacy Autosport with the fast lap, he will win the Symmetric Pole Award. Excellent job for Andre. Starting on the inside of the front row, Daniel Frost will start alongside him, the driver from Singapore, multi-time race winner in the Road to Indy. Simon Sykes in that number 20, he'll start third alongside Max Kaiser out of Colorado. Josh Green for Turn 3 Motorsport, and Bryson Morris, one of our Road to Indy prospects at the outside of row number 3. Peter, I'll give you row number 4 and row number 5.
Okay, on row number 4 will be Yuvan Sundaramurthy alongside James Davidson, back for another week with us here in the Cooper Tires Road to Indy E-Series. Nikita Laskashin will start from 9th, and Jarrett Swartz will start in 10th.
Moving a little further back, it's Benjamin Pedersen who will run this year in Indy Lights with Global Racing Group starting in the 11th position. Young Matt Clark, the Canadian F1600 champion, will start in the 12th spot. Those are your front 6 rows. Max Esterson, your point leader in the number 80, back in 13th alongside Braden Eves. That's first and second in the points, Peter. They're on row number 7.
Yep, they're going to have to be super careful in the middle of the pack there, the two championship contenders. Kayan Tandon, who had a fantastic debut in the Road to Indy E-Series last week at Detroit, he will start from 15th with Michael Myers on camera there, starting 16th. Jackson Lee will start 17th, and joining him on the 9th row will be Hunter Yaney, who does have a penalty for impeding a fast lap in qualifying.
Antonio Saravalli for Serra Racing in the number 17, starting 19th alongside Carmine Caruso, one of the drivers in the World Karting Association esports program. Nate Aranda and Eric Evans will be alongside each other on row number 11. And then Evan Stammer and Devlin DiFrancesco will be on row number 12.
Starting from row 13 will be Grant Palmer and Alicia Navarro, followed by Hayden Bradley, Timmy Pagliuso, and Dylan Christie starting at the back of the pack. But I think, Rob, we are going to see the 11 car of Hunter Yaney going to the end of line. Back of the pack for him for blocking and qualifying.
Yeah, I saw that come up from race control. Tough one there for Hunter Yaney, of course. Again, stay out of trouble in the opening laps, right, Peter? This is what we're talking about here. It'll be interesting to see how things shake down. Andre Castro and Daniel Frost, both those drivers showing well in the oval events at our first couple of eSeries races during the lockdown back in 2020. Again, all these drivers anxious to get back out racing when we get back to competition in the Road to Indy at Barber. But from tonight, it's all about oval racing here at Iowa Speedway.
Yep, it is indeed. This is going to be all about patience as our drivers pull off behind the pace car and get those tires nice and cozy, ready to go. You can see the drivers just weaving back and forward, trying to generate some heat in those Cooper tires. They build those Cooper tires tough, don't they, Rob? And 20 minutes around here is going to put them through their paces. It's
interesting, as I said before, all three of our programs have been able to run here at Iowa Speedway. And again, the driver winning the Symmetric Driver Performance Labs pole position was Andre Castro. Again, young American really trying to put the funding together to run USF 2000 this year with Legacy Autosport. We do indeed hope he's able to do that. Very talented young driver. We're going to get into the first run on the road to Indy. But again, as I said, Indy Lights, Indy Pro 2000, and USF 2000 have all raced here at this 7th, 8th mile fast oval Iowa Speedway. Fans love it. Anytime we're here with the NTT IndyCar Series, of course, a big fan favorite. Actually, not going back there this year. Sad for me to say that IndyCar not going back to Iowa Speedway this year, maybe again in 2022. But otherwise, Peter, drivers getting set up. We are, I believe, going to go racing this time around. Drivers getting themselves into their rows. 29 set to go here. This is the third stop on this TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries. A double header for you. It'll be Castro on the inside. He'll punch off early. Green, 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 and we are racing. It's the Legacy Autosport number 77 of Castro leading into turn number 1.
Yeah, and look at Simon Sykes there, straight onto the back of Castro, not wanting to let him get away, want to establish himself as a front runner straight away. But you can see there, Frost and Green there. Oh, Frost in third, and oh, goodness me, Frost taken out from behind by Josh Green. That's a clumsy one early on, Rob.
It looked to me, Peter, like Green was trying to get back a bit, but I think that Frost was having trouble. The car was getting chased up the track a little bit. That's Braden Eves in the exclusive Autosport number 91. He's been damaged as well. He's going to try to work his way around. One of the drivers, of course, in the championship battle. Damage on that left front, lost the front wing for Braden Eves, so he'll try to bring this thing back in, salvage as many points as he possibly can. This is given a pretty nice little lead out now, I believe, to Andre Castro. Simon Sykes slotting into second. James Davison joining us here this weekend, of course, a multi-time starter in the Indianapolis 500, former driver in the Indy Lights program, part of the Road to Indy, and has done a number of Monster Energy Cup races as well over NASCAR land. But the pace car is out, Peter. Big incident there, and we're going to reset the grid.
Yep, we are now. Ignore the top of the timing tour. Yep, it's just changed there. So Andre Castro, our pole sitter, still holding the lead with Simon Sykes, who made a great start from third on the grid. So from the second row, was able to make it through early. So watch for Simon Sykes on this restart. Fantastic start from James Davison from 8th to 3rd, Rob.
Nice. Yeah, indeed. Great start for James, staying out of trouble. One thing we said from the very beginning, Peter, get through the opening lap. If we can get a replay of that, I'd love to be able to have a look at it again. And we were watching, I think both Peter, you and I were keying on those two drivers. Looked to me like Daniel Frost might have been chasing the car up the racetrack a little bit. Again, cold tires, not able to get the car to go to the bottom. And it seemed potentially the same for Josh Green as well. But as you said, he just kind of got into the back of him. And when it happened, you could see the car rotate around. Both drivers hard into the wall. And then, of course, drivers behind taking evasive maneuvers, trying not to get into the incident. And if they're maybe overcorrecting a little too much, they find themselves getting into those around them.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, we're talking about the kind of aero wash as well. I mean, when you couple that with cold tires, maybe that was what happened to Josh Green there as well. And it kind of felt like they both followed each other into the wall in a way, or they would have done anyway. But both will have to come back swinging in race 2, Rob, because Josh Green, he's sitting third in the championship right now. So Max Esterson and Braden Eves, they'll be breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief.
Yeah, again, an issue with Braden Eves. We'll see what happens with him when we get back at it here. Again, I believe we're getting ready to go back green flag racing with Andre Castro. mid part of the racetrack coming out of turn number 3 and 4. Doesn't need to drop to the bottom as of yet. Yep, pace car's ducked on off. So away we go again. Simon Sykes, a lot of oval experience here on the iRacing platform. Races a lot of different events. Young American driver, 4th last year at Mid-Ohio, running for Legacy Autosport. He'll tuck right in on the gearbox here of Castro. But you said it, Peter, and I think it was a good call. That incident, very likely, cold tires and a combination of that and aero wash coming up into turn number 3.
In the wall.
More contact.
Castro's in the wall with, and he's got taken Sykes with him. It's a massive wreck. Nearly half the field.
So a number of drivers contacting into turn number 3 looked to me like potentially a carbon copy of what we saw with 1st and 2nd on the opening lap. More contact here. I think race directors may have let this thing roll. There's parts of bodywork on the racetrack somewhere. Not sure yet if we're going to go back to yellows, but this has put James Davison up front as we ride on board here now with Max Kaiser. Good shot here of the PM18 of Kaiser right there on the gearbox of Max. Would be wise just to get in behind James here, a veteran driver, not only in real life racing, but in the sims as well. James does a lot of sim racing. Just stay with him here, Max. Don't go too crazy. Early into the run. We're not even a quarter way through here, Peter.
This is brilliant. This is what racing at Iowa is all about. You can see Davison there. He just saw Kaiser get a little run and he thought, nope, I'm just going to throw the block there. But look at Matt Clark up on the high side. Here he goes. Look at this from Matt Clark in the 26 car. And remember, Mark started in 12th position, so he really profited from the cars behind us. We see Caruso sets the fastest lap of the race comfortably and joins the leading pack. Here we go, Rob.
Yeah, 5-driver breakaway right now. Davison, Kaiser, Carmine Caruso, as you said, in the World Karting Association machine. We allowed him to come back for another one here, this particular race, after the issues he had in Detroit. So Caruso showing well here in the 21. Look at Keon Tandon as well, one of the top drivers in the race at Detroit. Couple of top 5 finishes. He currently runs there in the 4th spot. Matt Clark's dropped back to 5th, but it's a 5-driver breakaway now, and it's Max Esterson has worked his way up to 6th. Not a great qualifying run for the point leader, but he has worked his way back up to P6, and that will be strong, thinking the fact that Braden Eves out of the race down in 24th.
And this will warm your heart, Rob. Look at this car around the top side there on the 21 car. Carmen Caruso. Tell you what, whoever's been in that World Karting car is really impressed every time we've been out here in the Road to Indy, TireRack.com eSeries. And, Caruso, he's trying the Ryan Hunter Ray line, trying to go high the whole time.
That's exactly it. Carmine, just hold on up there, my friend. We saw Dean Dibdall do a great job as well for the WKA at Road America. Carmine came back and had the issues at Detroit, so we invited him back for another one. It's all about the experience here for the young drivers in the WKA program and their own esports series. We're going to see Will Salisbury at the next race. He was able to win round 4 of the WKA program, and Dibdall scored the championship there. We'll have him back for round number 5. But look at this here now, Peter. We've got some lap traffic coming up, and they're going to try to see if they can't weave their way through here. They're staying at the bottom of the racetrack with that lap car down on the bottom as well. They'll work their way through. That's one of the Turn 3 Autosport cars. And again, look at this, riding on board with Keon Tandon. This is tremendous racing here at Iowa.
Oh, absolutely superb. And remember, we've only got 5 cars left out of 29 on the lead lap. Hayden Bradley is actually classified as 7 laps down in 6th position right now. So a crazy start to this race. We knew that a wreck was going to play into it, but I didn't think we would lose that many cars. But this kind of means that this is your battle. If you're on the lead lap, you're in the battle. And Davison, he's doing a little bit of the heavy lifting here, Rob.
Well, I think James running up front here now in that number 18 machine, biding his time, but trying to see what those drivers behind him are doing. He'll have a spotter on the radio, letting him know where Max Kaiser is. But I will say this, Kaiser was very impressive in the first 2 eSeries races that we had during the lockdown in 2020, especially here on the oval. He ran very strongly, and he's doing a tremendous job here right now. We're going to get a chance to have a look, folks, as we're watching this race. Have a look at the first incident between the drivers who started right up front. And here we go here. This is actually, I think, this will be the incident at the very start, I believe, between Green and Daniel Frost. You see, Frost kind of cut. Actually, Peter, looks to me like Frost came up in front.
I do apologize. I called that wrong. My bad.
Well, we hadn't had a chance to see the replay, Peter. It's simply, with that great shot there from our cameraman, you could see that getting into turn number 3, Frost just kind of washed up on the racetrack there and got into the front of Josh Green. Josh was really nowhere to go. And at that point, Peter, chain reaction after that.
Please don't send me an angry message on social media, Josh Green. Please. So back to the front, Davison and Kaiser. Kaiser's just been stuck to Davison's gearbox, and I tell you what, Rob, the guys behind don't look as comfortable as Kaiser. Kaiser just looks really, really steady there behind Davison.
Yeah, have a little look there. You can see that Caruso going side by side with Matt Clark. That's the battle for 3rd and 4th. Keon Tannen took the high road through turn 1 and 2. I think wanting to back out a little bit. This time Caruso's going to do the same thing. He'll let Keon Tannen a slot to the inside. And again, Keon, a young driver who I've got a chance to watch come up through the Superkarts USA program. Same with Matt Clark as well. Both Clark, Caruso, and Keon Tannen, all young karters, one of our TI prospects. Of course, Matt Clark running this year in F4, but was the Canadian F1600 champion. Carmine Caruso, a top driver in the WKA karting program. And then again, as well, Keon Tannen, who's looking to do some testing, I believe, this year, has the road to Indy as his target, either in 2022 or 2023.
Well, one thing that I think we've seen here in the eSeries, Rob, from Keon Tannen, you couldn't get a more attritional street course than Detroit last week. There was a lot of stuff to avoid, and Keon Tannen, again here in the oval, he's kept himself clean. And I think for any team owner, the dream is a young driver who keeps it out the barriers.
Yeah, fast and rolls the car onto the trailer at the end of the day every day, right? And listen, I'll tell you, this is a really unique opportunity. And I know that when James Davison contacted us and said, hey, I'd really like a chance to come and race with you guys. What do you think? It's great for these guys. Of course, Max Kaiser, just 16 years of age, battling it out with an Indy 500 veteran. And this is exactly what this is all about. Here's the start, again, the restart shot, and there's a spin there. Who was that goal? That was deeper in the field. That was a 24 of Michael Myers, Peter, going around. That was deeper in the field, the chain reaction of the incident up in turn 3 and 4. I'm sure that one of the things about an oval, if you're rolling into the corner and you all of a sudden, as you're getting the car into the corner, you jump out of the gas, all that weight transfers forward because you don't have the weight going back with the throttle, and that it just unsettles the rear. And that's what you saw from Michael Myers. Got off the gas, saw the incident, and around it went. There's absolutely nothing you can do there.
Yeah, absolutely. That one went quick, didn't it? And of course, these cars are so razor sharp, these Tatis PM18s. And Caruso. I tell you what, Caruso's got some fantastic perception. Tell you, must get that from the karting experience, because every time he gets maybe a little bit too close to a car, he spots it and he jumps out as well. And he's really trying to make that high line work. So is Matt Clark. But they're both in just a really ideal position right now, because if anything happens in front, they've got the chance to react. The only thing about Kaiser having that comfy position behind Davison is if anything happens, he's not got the room to react. But this is going to be hard to call as we head towards the green, the checkered, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm on the edge of my seat here. Like you said, we've lost a ton of drivers from this 29-car field. We've only got 4 drivers on the lead lap. Really, everybody behind is like 6 or 7 laps behind here after the incident we had, those 2 incidents in turn 3 and 4. But this is exactly what Iowa Speedway is all about. We have 5 drivers in the Tatis PM18. They are nose to tail. Max Kaiser is showing the patience and the poise. He has not left his wingman, stayed on the gearbox of James Davison. They've run 1-2 since they went back to green. It's the guys behind him, Keon Tannen, Carmine Caruso, Matt Clark. They're going high, they're going low. We're 3 wide every once in a while, but it's first and second literally locked together, gearbox to no stop.
Yeah, and we've got a little bit of a bogey in here as well. We've got, I think it's Josh Green is joining in this battle as well. It's certainly showing up on my feed here. No, it's Carmen. My apologies. No, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Goodness me, this is it's hard to keep on top of this. But yeah, you're right. Davison and Kaiser, they're just easy to just stay where they are and not needing to try too many lines. Whereas interesting that Matt Clark and Caruso taking a little bit of trying to do a little bit of drafting with the lap traffic and then ducking back down into line again. So they're trying everything they can to try and stay on this lead group.
Well, I think the other thing as well, we're looking at just about 7 minutes still remaining in this 20-minute contest, the first of the 2 races as part of the doubleheader here. when you're sitting there third, fourth, and fifth, especially fourth and fifth, might as well try different lines around the racetrack. How does the car feel if I run that second groove? Can I go high and pinch it back down to get a better exit speed? They're going to get an opportunity to keep trying here and then use that draft to pull back up. You can see a big run there for Caruso, right? Higher line, kind of diamond the corner, came back down the hill onto the back straightaway and got a really good run on Keon Tandon. Not enough to go around the outside yet, but those guys that aren't running first and second really have a better opportunity to kind of feel around the racetrack a little.
Oh, look at Caruso now. I think he's found the secret you're talking about, Rob. He goes, aha, there we go, there it is. I've been going around in circles for 13 minutes, and now I've got it. And now, look, keep an eye out for Caruso in that World Karting Association car. Go on, that was close. Nearly wheel-to-wheel touch there with Keon Tandon. And that's the thing here at Iowa. It's pretty wide, and of course, there's just so many different lines you can take. And finding that ideal line, that is just the beauty of oval racing, and that secret that's just so hard to crack.
How do you like this international field? It's kind of international. It's kind of maybe different parts of the country. Let's put it that way. We got a bunch of Americans trying to chase this Australian driver, James Davison. But you've got Max Kaiser from Colorado. You've got Carmine Caruso from New York. You got California's Keon Tandon. And you got from Canada, Matt Clark. And Max dropping back a little bit here in P5. He needs to get back on his horse to get back up here. But, man, this thing's running down to the end. Just a little over 5 minutes remaining. Davison still leads. Kaiser second. Kaiser rather in second. Tandon third. Caruso fourth. And there's Matt Clark on board with him right now. Matt Clark trying to dial things in, running P5. On board with him on the left side. Of course, in his sim on the right side, you can see that lead 4 right there. More lap traffic coming as well. It's a chess match, Peter. It's all about strategy. It's all about feeling what you've got in your car here in the late going.
I love this shot here of Matt Clark in the sim, and we might add that this is a guest sim for him. This is not his home sim. He's out down in the United States at the moment. But what I'm loving about this shot here, Rob, is you just look at Matt Clark's eyes. They are just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all the time. It just shows you he's looking at his relative, he's looking at the grabs, he's looking at this. He can't keep an eye on everything, but God, he's moving around and then takes one hand off the wheel just to prove me wrong. But Matt Clark, at the moment, he's sitting 4th in the championship, and Josh Green, Braden Eves, and Max Estison ahead of him are going to score virtually nothing. So Matt Clark is actually in a really good spot here to score some good points and haul himself back into the championship.
Yeah, a couple of big weeks here for Matt Clark as well. Just recently signed with Speed Group, the management group of James Hinchcliffe, David Martinez, and Tony Calderon. So with Speed Group now for his career, plus got a chance to finish. I think he finished second in the Gustavo Yakiman Academy program that ran at both Homestead and Sebring over the last couple of days. So he's been in the F4 car. We're going to see him in USF 2000 likely next year, but right now running pretty good. We got to watch out here, though, because it's starting to get a little more hectic. As you can see, these drivers battling it out. Still Davison up front, Kaiser second, but I'll tell you, Caruso getting really aggressive there as well from P4.
Yeah, Caruso is trying everything he possibly can. I tell you what, Rob, this is more tense than watching you arm wrestling with Ryan Norman.
So you're going to go back to that, are you?
Yeah, but who won that here at Iowa 2 years ago?
Road to Indy TV, Ryan Norman and I had an arm wrestling competition, and the old guy won. I was able to defeat Ryan Norman. Yeah, we'll bring that one up. That'll be a Google search tomorrow. Again, on board here, watching this scrap with Keon Tandon. Is he following suit, I think, with Max Kaiser, trying to stay on the gearbox, but you can see, Peter, we've talked about this, always wanting to go up top to touch that wing in the top part to get a little more air flowing over that front wing.
Yeah, that's the tricky part here at Iowa, that you've got to be so careful, because if you get too close, then you lose all of a sudden that grip at the front that you had. It just disappears. They call it the Bermuda Triangle for a reason, but Caruso, he's determined to make that high line work. He's going to make it work. And I love how he goes way up high and then swoops down low. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the one thing we haven't seen yet is him able to really make that pass on the top of the racetrack, and I think that's one of the things. Whether or not he's just kind of biding his time right now, he's definitely filling the mirrors of Keon Tandon as well as Max Kaiser. But here's the thing. The guy they're racing with up front is an absolute veteran. We're talking multi-time Indianapolis 500 starter, James Davison. He's not going to get rattled because he's got guys chasing him here right now. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He's probably got the strategy planned. He'll know where he wants to be on the final circuit. He's going to make these guys go around the outside of him, Peter. We've got 2 minutes and 25 seconds, maybe 20 seconds remaining. This one's coming down here.
Yep, it is getting really close here. It's heating up here at Iowa in corn country. But James Davison, he has done all the heavy lifting so far. He's had Max Kaiser on his gearbox for virtually the entirety of the race. Ever since we went green anyway. Keon Tandon also there, keeping on that low line, hugging the low line. But Caruso, he is just like a wasp. He's just like a fly on a hot day, just bugging the field in front. And I tell you what, if you know you're doing something if you're bugging your competitors.
Hey, what do you think if you're Matt Clark right now? Are you waiting to try to find a hole through when the contact happens? Because here comes to the inside. Carmine Caruso has gone to P3, getting to the inside of Keon Tandon. Caruso now into the third spot in the WKA machine. Can he find a way by Max Kaiser? We are down to 90 seconds remaining. There's a big incident there. Some driver getting loose coming off of turn number 2, slamming the inside wall. Did not affect our front-running quintet. There is still lap cars coming up here for Davison. Big racing here right now. Davison, your leader, Peter, and again, still at the bottom. Max Kaiser not giving up the bottom groove.
No, he is, and neither is Davison. There's going, if you want the spot, you're going to have to go up high. You're going to have to do the Ryan Hunter Ray. And Caruso said, okay, I'm going to give it a go. And oh, look at that. Kaiser sees him coming and throws the block. And Davison will be seeing this in his mirror saying, oh, that's fantastic, Max. Do that again, please.
Yeah, but look there what happened. Caruso got a little wild coming out of turn 4. Keon Tandon going back to the bottom in the number 28. Clark to the top side of the racetrack. He'll pinch down to the bottom now. You wonder whether or not Caruso might have burned the tires up running the high groove. Matt Clark now moves into P4. Clark, the Canadian, to 4th. Keon Tandon 3rd. Looking out the back over the rear wing right now of 2nd place running Max Kaiser. Davison still the leader. They're probably going to have one more lap. I would expect they're probably going to get the white flag this time by 15 seconds remaining. Indeed, out of turn number 4. One more to go here. Coming across the line. Excellent run thus far. Let's see if Kaiser has anything for him. Peter, he stayed right with him the entire time. Someday you got to throw it at him. Who's going to go to below the yellow? Kaiser looking to the top. I don't know if he can get the job done. Right to the bottom goes Davison out of turn number 4. Let's see if anybody goes to the high side. And no, James Davison's going to win the opening round of the doubleheader here in Iowa. Davison with the win. 2nd spot goes to Max Kaiser. 3rd to Keon Tandon. Matt Clark goes to 4th. Carmine Caruso deserved better than that, Peter. Ends up P5, but definitely put a ton of excitement into that race for us.
Well, he won't go to bed tonight wondering if he didn't try, because he tried everything that he possibly could. But James Davison, he stuck to that bottom line like a slot car, and nobody was coming by him. But just really, really good under a lot of pressure with a huge pack of guys behind him. Brilliant stuff from James Davison.
Well, folks, over the last couple of laps, we apologize for losing the feed. This was essentially the Road to Indy radio network for you, Peter, for the last couple, because they were listening to us and not able to see what was going on. Hopefully, we were able to paint the picture for you. Big run there for James Davison. The margin of victory over Max Kaiser, just over 1/10 of a second, 0.165 for Davison over Max Kaiser. Keon Tandon ended up in the 3rd spot. Matt Clark in 4th and Carmine Caruso 5th. 8 laps back, Peter. Only 5 drivers, but 8 laps back. Bryson Morris coming home in the 6th spot. Josh Green 7th. Evan Stammer, one of our Road to Indy prospects, in 8th position. Hayden Bradley, a Lucas Oil School of Racing driver and a graduate, in 9th. And Max Esterson, your point leader, still salvaging points. 12 points for Esterson. He'll stretch his lead by 9 points over Braden Eves, who ended up finishing in 9th position.
And Max Esterson will start the race 2 from pole position.
Unbelievable. The top 10 invert. Listen, here's a guy that never gets that. We talked about the fact that at Road America, he was able to jet away as the race winner in round 1 after qualifying on pole, Peter. And then he starts 10th, and the chaos around him, he gets collected in it. This time, though, able to work his way back to 10th. He gets the lucky dog to start on the front row for race number 2.
I think that's going to be critical, because we will have to look back and see what happened to both Max Esterson and Braden Eves, our championship contenders. But we knew they were right in the eye of the storm, and it looks like it cost them.
Folks, drivers onto the racetrack once again for another warm-up session before we go racing in event number 2 here at Iowa. Stay with us, folks. More to come after this break.
An important decision is afoot. This man is about to buy tires on TireRack.com. Tire Rack is the leading online retailer of tires in North America and a repository of advice and expert reviews. And it's done! All that's left is to arrange for safe, easy installation at one of our independent recommended installers. Well, I guess he did that too. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
As your uncle, I want you to know that on the road to life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
Welcome back to Iowa Speedway and the third stop for the 2021 TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries presented by Cooper Tires. Rob Howden alongside Peter McKay. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Our team, of course, working hard on that right now. Peter, drivers on the racetrack here, getting things rolling for warm-up before we go racing again. And as you had said, we're going to press the reset button. Top 10 drivers from the results of the opening race inverted for the grid to start race number 2. That's going to put point leader Max Esterson at P1. Probably the best luck he's had all season long.
Absolutely, but they say the harder you work, the luckier you get. And of course, there was a lot of cars wrecked out in that last race. But you got to get those repairs done. And sometimes driving in a wounded car is something that you just have to do occasionally. And that's Esterson getting his way back into that critical top 10. I'm sure he had his eye on it for the whole race, and he did that. And that could be absolutely critical because Braden Eves, his teammate and championship contender, is going to start from 18th on the grid. And as we saw, Rob, you don't want to be there. That's right in the heart of the pack.
Yeah, what I really want to see, Peter, is the drivers kind of calm down here in the opening couple of laps, see if we can't get a better group going. We had 2 incidents happen at the very start. We're seeing some more guys getting into each other here. You got to realize when you're trying to go side by side here at Iowa, you got to give the guys around you a little bit more room. And we saw it. We saw the replay of the incident between Daniel Frost and Josh Green, where Frost kind of just washed up the track a little bit into Green. Not much he could do, and that was the incident there. Here's the grid, though, folks, for race number 2. I'll give you the first couple of rows, and I'll pass it back over to Peter. Max Esterson, your point leader, starting on the pole in the number 80 machine. Alongside him, Hayden Bradley in the number 33. Row 2 will be Evan Stammer, one of our Road to Indy prospects, in the number 53, starting third. And on the outside of that row, Turn 3 Motorsports, Josh Green.
Starting from 5th on the grid will be Bryson Morris alongside Carmen Caruso. Watch out for Carmen in the 21 car, who's super impressive and deserved more in race 1. Starting from the 4th row will be Matt Clark and Kian Tandon.
A little further back there to cap off your top 10, Max Kaiser and James Davison, both those drivers impressive in that opening run. Of course, Davison with the victory. Kaiser, though, did not leave the gearbox all race long, and although he was challenged from behind, able to hold that position. Benjamin Pedersen will start 11th alongside Eli Navarro, who will be a rookie this year for D-Force Racing in USF 2000.
Starting on row 7 will be Hunter Yaney and Antonio Serraval, with Andre Castro, our pole sitter from race 1, don't forget, and Nate Aranda, starting from 16th.
Yeah, I think it's a key, Peter, to watch Andre Castro try to work his way from 15th. We know he has the speed. Eric Evans will be 17th alongside Braden Eves, another young driver that we should watch coming forward here, USF 2000 champion. Back in 2019, Eves running for Exclusive Autosport this year in Indy Pro 2000. Capping off your top 10, Timmy Pagliuso in the number 08 in the Turtle Plastics machine, and Nikita Lastishkin for HMD Motorsports in the number 20 or number 69, starting in 20th.
Jackson Lee will start from the 21st spot on the grid with Grant Palmer alongside him. Dylan Christie will start from 23rd with Mike Myers, who wrecked out early in race number 1, but keep an eye out for him in the 24 car.
Yeah, let's cap off this field. Simon Sykes, expect him to work his way forward. Issues for him early. Devlin DiFrancesco starting 26th and 17th. Yuvan Sundaramurthy and Jarrett Schwartz will be at the tail of the group on row 14. Schwartz, the winner of round 3 of the World Karting Association AMAX Racing Esports program. And Daniel Frost all the way at the back of the pack in the 68th. I think he's a guy to watch coming forward as well. Peter, drivers on their pace lap right now, almost set to go racing with their point leader, Max Esterson, the young 18-year-old starting on the pole.
Yep, Max Esterson has had the full set across Road America and Detroit. He's been so impressive. Can he do it here on the oval? He's got the prime spot to start from. This is going to be a cracker, Rob.
Esterson on the pole, Hayden Bradley on the outside of the front row, everybody else stacking through. Crossing our fingers, we have a clean opening lap. Maybe they learned something from race number 1. A lot of those drivers, of course, heading to the pit lane for repairs. This time it'll be Esterson. They'll work their way through the turn 3-4 complex here at Iowa Speedway. Almost time to go racing for the second end of the doubleheader here in Newton. Away we go. Green, green, green. Great start for Esterson. Not so much for Bradley as he was slow getting rolling. And Esterson's going to take at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 car lengths through turn 1 and 2. Everybody else slotting in. Good start from Matt Clark. I believe he potentially up into the 6th spot now. But Peter, drivers settling in, opening lap. First time through 3 and 4.
Yeah, Hayden Bradley really caught on the hop there, and Max Esterson just... Oh, and is that Bradley into the wall?
It is Bradley in the wall.
Oh, what a disastrous start.
Got into the corner a little too hot. The car moved up, and there's another one there. That is, I believe, Max Kaiser. Kaiser got into the back of Matt Clark, I think. And again, drivers getting to... There's the leader. Esterson. That's the leader going into the wall. That is Esterson.
It's not. No, it's not.
Is that Josh Green? Evan Stammer in the wall. I'm telling you, Peter, it is hard to keep track of what is going on. Full course yellow. And again, what do we see? Drivers in the draft rolling in too deep and getting into the drivers in front of them. Max Esterson, I believe, not Max Esterson, Max Kaiser, rather, getting into the back of Matt Clark over in turn number 1 and 2, and then another incident down in 3 and 4.
Yeah, Matt Clark and Max Kaiser, of course, 2 of our front runners in that group in race 1, but not being so fortunate this time. Okay, so we've got a completely new cast at front. Max Esterson holding the pole position, holding the lead. He's got Josh Green right behind him, who came into this round 3rd in the championship, don't forget. He's in 2nd, Bryson Morris 3rd, and well, we said look out for Andre Castro, 15th on the grid, 4th already, Rob.
Yeah, looking down the order of some of the drivers that have had incidents already. Bradley involved, Carmine Caruso falling down in the order as well. Jarrett Schwartz down in the 30th spot as well. So again, we had chaos at the start of this one. Again, watching the drivers work their way around here. Behind the pace car here, incidents for Evan Stammer as well. A number of drivers having trouble on the opening lap. Max Kaiser, who said, getting into the back of Matt Clark. Clark, where is he going down the order? I got to scroll down. Matt Clark in the 21st position, Kaiser in 23rd. Keon Tannen as well, Peter, who had a tremendous run. Yeah, Carmine Caruso as well. So essentially almost everybody from the lead pack, other than James Davison involved, I think, too. He's down actually in the 17th spot a couple laps back. So, man, not the chaos, or not the start I was hoping for. Any of us, I think, we're hoping for here.
No, definitely not. I mean, and it's crazy how we have a completely different cast at the front, and that's kind of been a bit of the story across the whole championship, hasn't it, Rob?
True.
There's been a number of times. There's been nobody who's swept both races. There's always been problems, and it's kind of been well spread out, the chaos at times.
Well, it's the invert we were looking for as well, right? When we get that top 10 invert, we're hoping to see the guys that were able to win the opening round show some poise and potentially work their way back forward. But it's Esterson getting that green. We're back underway here. Josh Green running in the 2nd spot. Bryson Morris in 3rd, but Castro's going to go to the bottom immediately to try to take P3 over. And indeed, look for, I believe, Morris to kind of chase that car up the racetrack a little bit. He's going to lose a couple more spots as Hunter Yaney and Antonio Saravalli slotting in here as well. Another driver in the wall, that's Green. Josh Green in the wall, but more contact further back. 2 more drivers, hard impact into the wall in turn number 4. We'll see if we go full course caution again or whether or not we continue to run after the one incident here. Otherwise, up front, Andre Castro has gone to the lead. Hunter Yaney there with him as well, I believe. Moving through is Yaney. He'll go to P1. There's a spin there. That is, I believe, Nate Aranda into the wall. No, that was Sarabali. So Sarabali losing it in turn number 4 as well. A lot of these drivers struggling to come to grips with the setup here today, Peter. We saw separate issues for Josh Green and Antonio Sarabali. That's going to put Yaney to the lead, Castro second, Nate Aranda to third, Bryson Morris fourth, and Nikita Lastishkin now into P5.
Yeah, Nikita Lastishkin coming from right at the very back of the pack, really 20th position he started this race, and he's got to play this one smart. He's got to just try and give his fellow drivers quite a bit of space. I think that might be the secret here. You see it in the NTT IndyCar series when they come here to Iowa. The driver's always looking for that little bit of clear space on the track, and it's hard fought, but I got a feeling, Rob, that we're going to see a great head-to-head duel here between Yaney and Castro. They appear to have some really strong pace, and don't forget that Yaney had to start from the back in race 1.
Yeah, indeed, settling himself in nicely up front here. We're kind of seeing what we saw in the opening race as well. 5 or 6 drivers in this lead group. You can see that Simon Sykes trying to close up as well in that number 20 machine to potentially make it 6 drivers. There's Sykes on the top side of the racetrack there, right kind of behind the 77 of Castro. Watch yourself pinching down there, Andre. We've seen that a lot. Andre trying to get some room to the bottom. And there's Bryson Morris back on board here now with Lastishkin in the 5th position. Nikita, veteran driver, Peter, in the Road to Indy, came through USF 2000, Indy Pro, and this year will run with HMD Motorsports in Indy Lights. The driver lives in Los Angeles, born in St. Petersburg, Russia, and great to have him as part of the Road to Indy. Running strong here right now, P5, but again, so early, just past the quarter mark here. This is when you can settle in like the drivers did in race number 1 and just bide your time.
Absolutely, and Nikita's got a great combination of experience on the sim. He's got a good sim setup at home, and like you say, that really important experience of going through every ladder of the Road to Indy. He'll be very familiar with this type of racetrack, and shall we say, the pitfalls of competing on this type of racetrack. As you can see, there's all this juking back and forth for position. Look at Aranda. Aranda's going to try and hook it up the top side, and oh, be careful! Oh my!
Oh no, that's it there.
They tangle. That was Aranda, and was that Sykes too?
It was Simon Sykes, I believe, with the bottom there, and it looked to me like there was kind of contact. As we see in iRacing, sometimes you can't quite see that contact. You'll see the driver jink, but you can see the counterclockwise rotation for Aranda at the top. Sykes had gone to the bottom. Now we're down to 3, maybe 4 drivers. Yaney still with the lead. He's keeping that bottom line like James Davison did. He's going to make Casper go to the top side. Bryson Morris is the driver coming in. This time, though, down to the bottom. They've got a lap car down low. I'll tell you, Peter Castro's trying everything he can. He knows he cannot let Yaney own the bottom groove. Got to force him to make a mistake to chase the car up the racetrack. Otherwise, he's just going to be able to run that bottom.
Yep, it looks very clear that the bottom line is the line to be in tonight. Nobody making the high line work consistently. So if you can get there and hog it, you're going to be in for a good sign. Interesting to see Nikita Lastishkin here on the camera in his very colourful sim room there. He was grinning from ear to ear, just thinking, oh, there's a couple of bonus positions. So let's have a look then. Simon Sykes there on the top in the white and green machine. So they just tangle, they touch wheels, and that just kind of grabbed Aranda's car a little bit. And yeah, maybe a little bit of digital aero wake as well.
Yeah, it looked to me like Aranda had some trouble mid-corner and had to chase the car up the racetrack, and Sykes was able to get back down to the bottom, but then just very, very slight right front to left rear contact. Here's another move. Can't go below that yellow line, and Yaney literally hugging the bottom of the racetrack there. The number 77 of Castro trying everything he can do to get by. This is a carbon copy of race 1, Peter. You got Morris there, P3. You got Lastishkin not that far back in 4th. They've been able to pull away a little bit. Michael Myers having another good run. He's by himself now in the 5th position, he and Dylan Christie. This is the battle up front here. Look at Morris trying to find a way by. More impact there. One driver into the wall coming out of turn number 4. Front drivers, though, these front running 3 now pulling away from Nikita Lastishkin. They are not making any mistakes. 1, 2, 3, Yaney, Castro, and Morris.
Yeah, I think Nikita Lastishkin might have just been a little bit distracted there. I think it might have been Aranda crashing again. It certainly looked like his car, but I think that just caused Nikita to come out the throttle, and you can't really afford that at this level. So I guess for Nikita, he'll be hoping that Yaney, Castro and Morris start throwing some big blocks on each other so we can catch up, but it's going to be a hard order. But I tell you what, Yaney, he's like the toughest kid in school at the back seat of the bus, saying, you're not getting this spot, you're going to have to fight me if you want it.
It's only going to take a little bit of contact, though, and we could see something happen, because I'll tell you, unlike Kaiser in the first race, who was content to sit on the gearbox, you can see that Castro's doing everything he can to try to shake up Yaney. He'll go to the top side of the racetrack. He dips back down. Yaney wearing those beautiful colors of Velocity Racing Development, the team that's making its debut in the Road to Indy this year. A couple drivers, both Yaney and Indy Pro 2000, Eric Evans running in USF 2000. And again, check this out as, again, Castro trying everything he can, filling the mirrors of Yaney, last year's F4 champion. And look at the guy following it right there. Bryson Morris keeps trying to get down to the bottom and take over P2.
And they just blow by Benjamin Pedersen there, who's probably nursing a little bit of damage from earlier incidents, but they just fly by, and of course they're just letting out the throttle to let the leaders through as well. But I tell you what, Castro, I think he's going to make this outside line work eventually, Rob. If he's got the life in the tyre, I think he might be able to do this, because he's making that sort of mid to high line work really quite well, and it's going to only take a small mistake from Yaney and he'll get the switch back. And meanwhile, Morris just sitting there in the popcorn position, and look at that, Nikita Lastishkin, he's back on the tail of them. So they've just been juking back and forward, and that's allowed Nikita Lastishkin to get back into the group.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing from these drivers afterwards what they think the tire wear was like running the high groove, whether it was good like Davison to the bottom, same as Hunter Yaney. Normally when you run the tight lower groove like that, you can be, working the tires a little more than running the higher groove, right? Especially at a track like this, which has the progressive banking up the track at Iowa. Normally you can run a bit higher and get that groove. And here we go again. This is again the high side, just not quite enough. You can see him trying everything. Here's the over-under, and no, right down to the bottom again.
And there was a bogey there. There was a car coming out of pit lane, which is really got to be very careful not to let that distract. But Castro, he is just like a wasp again. He's doing the Carmen Caruso taxi now. We've got a lot of traffic ahead. Now, will these drivers, will they give the respect? I'm sure they will. And oh, Yaney goes way, goes for a bit of a slide job block there almost. And Castro, I think Castro knows now. He knows he's got Yaney rattled.
And let's see what happens with Bryson Morris. Definitely Yaney going a bit high. Morris trying to split the middle. Clark is in there. Matt Clark still battling away. There goes Castro back down to the bottom. And again, all these drivers able to get by these slower cars here a bit further back. Some of them, of course, damaged. We're in the pit lane. A number of them have got to pit lane and came back out. Max Esterson did the same thing. He is about 14 laps down, but the point leader currently sitting in the 11th spot. $2,000 first place championship prize to win the title, as well as sim time with Symmetric at every race on the 2021 Road to Indy series. And again, a great prize. And Esterson, although he won't be able to use that maybe next year because he's planning on coming to USF 2000 in 2022. Esterson dialed in the run with Low Dempsey Racing in the British Formula Ford program in 2021. But he's trying to fight his way back, currently in the 10th position with still a couple of rounds, a couple of races to go. But man, this battle is not done. Yaney to the bottom. Big high side run there for Castro.
Oh, he's got it almost up to the cushion there. Is Castro, and look at this. I think he might have the run here, Rob. I think Yaney's just a little bit vulnerable. But Morris is in there as well. Watch for him. We've got a bogey up high. That's another lap car. It's Braden Eves. I feel strange calling Braden Eves a bogey, but he is in this context.
Exactly. So there we go again through 3 and 4. You can see that Castro, and again, this guy's trying to get a ride this year, trying to put together the funding. This kid is a shoe for sure. Side by side with Yaney again, just trying to make it stick. All he's looking for is that one chink in the armor, right, Peter? He's just trying to see if he can't shake Yaney that one time. Maybe push a little high into the corner. And just able to take advantage of any slight error. And I tell you, Bryson Morris is doing the same thing. Another move to the top side for Castro as we have ourselves about 6.5 minutes to go.
I wonder if Morris is maybe playing this the smartest. He might be the guy who's just got that little bit of tyre left for that final push. Remember, we've got about 7 minutes, just under 7 minutes left. here in this race, which is actually quite a long time on this type of circuit. And Lastishkin as well, he's maybe had to work hard to catch up with him, so he might be a little bit behind on tyre wear. But I wonder, Rob, if Morris is the guy with the ace up his sleeve now.
Oh, yeah, we've got at least 10 or 11 laps, maybe 12 laps remaining here. Long way to go till we're all done. And Morris, I think, is right. He's at the bottom there. And he's allowing Castro to do all the work to try to pressure him. Castro again to the top side of the racetrack. Can he get around this time? Looks pretty good. He got a good run out of turn number 2, coming down that back straightaway. There it is. Look at Morris at the bottom. He's a little bit of trouble there. Castro to the top, comes across the bound bucket. He's through. It was about 10 laps of pressure, maybe more, Peter, but Castro pushing Yaney in that little mistake. New leader here in Iowa.
And it was the tiniest of mistakes as well, but look at Yaney. He's thinking, all right then, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Here I go. And he's got a big run. He goes, that top line looks fun. I'm going to try it. Here we go. Oh, and look how close they're running as well. The trust they've got to have to do that. You've got to trust your internet connection, let alone the driver beside you. Look at Yaney. He just goes straight back around the outside, around the top line, and then goes up high, and then Castro goes back again. Well, this is a thriller.
The over-under. Yaney got a great run coming through 1 and 2, able to take the high side around. Oh, a little loose there through 3. Oh. That car's skating up the racetrack. Here comes Lastishkin. He's going to go to P3. Hunter Yaney absolutely running the razor's edge right now, able to go around the outside. This is giving Castro that lead back with less than 5 minutes remaining. Move Bryson Morris, 2-time Supercars USA champion, won both the X30 Senior and the KA100 Senior Championship and the Supercars USA Pro Tour. Yaney behind them, battling it out for third with Nikita Lastishkin. And I'll tell you, Yaney's using that top side of the racetrack. Lastishkin, little slide job. He'll move up the racetrack to take the position. Yaney's still working the top, but Castro now the driver in the hot seat right now. Bryson Morris taking up the challenge position.
Look at the run that Yaney's getting. He is really making that top line work the best. I thought that Yaney might have been maybe done there, but just looking back, thinking I've done enough heavy lifting there. Castro, you can run the lead and see what you feel like. And I tell you what, brilliant stuff, isn't it, Rob? Because we've got a completely different set of contact. They both go out.
There it is.
Morris goes through with Lastishkin as well.
Hunter Yaney running the second groove through 3, lost the rear of the car, mid-corner oversteer, came back down into the right rear of Andre Castro. Both those drivers hard impacted the outside wall. We've got 3.5 minutes remaining. Bryson Morris, the young Tennessee driver, trying to follow in the footsteps of one Joseph Newgarden. He works his way as the leader. Lastishkin now runs in second. Michael Myers all by himself now in third, but all this action, I think Myers actually closing up a little bit further back. We've got some lap traffic still. To the bottom of the racetrack goes Myers. He'll go inside of Eric Evans. Let's have a look at the replay of the incident that took out first and second. They worked their way through. You can see the car of Yaney lose it, the rear end breaking out, and nothing he could do. Slid into the back of Castro. I'll tell you, Andre Castro probably could not believe it when that car all of a sudden had a full visor full of wall at Iowa.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was what a dramatic, well, not finish, but dramatic episode here. And now it's just a head-to-head grandstand finish between Morris and Lastishkin. But what we have to look for is, like you mentioned, Rob, Michael Myers. He's put in his fastest lap in the race 3 laps ago, so he's still got some good pace underneath his Tatus chassis. So if these guys, Morris and Lastishkin, get into a bit of a blocking game, it's going to be a very tough ask, but you never know. Michael Myers has still got a chance to run this race, but Morris and Lastishkin, look at Lastishkin on the high line. Oh, what? Oh no! Oh, Morris is going to get blocked here. This is, oh dear me, it's close.
Indeed, one of the slower cars down to the bottom of the racetrack. Morris with nowhere to go. We've got ourselves about 2 minutes remaining, and indeed, Michael Myers, who was third in one of the races at Road America after a great battle with Dean Dibdahl, now finds himself as the driver P3. On watching Nikita Lastishkin on the racetrack on the right side of your screen, that is him in the sim as well, going to work. You can see him so focused right now. Lastishkin will go Indy Lights racing with HMD Motorsports this year. This time he'll go to the high side around and try to find a way by Bryson Morris. What a tremendous battle we have here. The action we've had, Peter, in this race has been absolutely thrilling. 90 seconds to go. Count it. 3 laps remaining here in the second end of the doubleheader at Iowa. Bryson Morris leading Nikita Lastishkin.
what a privilege this is to call this action. This is what it's all about. Morris versus Lastukin here at Iowa in corn country. And Morris, I tell you what, Rob, he looks super comfortable. And Lastukin, he's doing everything he can to break up that comfort.
We're going to down pretty close to being the last lap. Couple more to go. I will say this right now. Right behind these guys showing his speed is Braden Eves. He's been able to work his way back up into the 8th spot. One position ahead of Max Esterson, so trying to make sure he doesn't lose too many points. Again, watching this tremendous battle here right now. This is on board with Nikita Lastukin. They'll see the white flag, I believe, this time by. No, they're going to get another one, I think. They'll get another lap, I would expect, because we've still got 40 seconds to go. And coming through some lap traffic. Look at Braden Eves right there. Over to the bottom of the track goes Morris. Down the back straightaway here at Iowa. White flag will fly this time by. Peter, last lap here to see if Morris can hold him off.
Here we go then. Where is that? You know that Lastukin's going to try it, but where? He's trying the high line right now. Can he make it work? Not right yet. Morris looking super comfortable down low, and he's going to not give that line away. Lastukin goes back into the draft, then hangs it up high. Looks like Morris might just take this one, Rob.
Out of the final corner, it's going to be Bryson Morris. The Road to Indy prospect winning the second race here at Iowa Speedway, and I'll tell you, not that far back was Michael Myers. He has closed up significantly over the last couple of circuits. Nikita Lastukin, a strong run in that number 69 machine, ended up P2. Michael Myers in the 3rd position. That was absolutely tremendous racing. Could have asked for much more than that, Peter. Great run for Bryson Morris as the race winner. Nikita Lastukin in 2nd. Michael Myers in 3rd. Dylan Christie in the 4th spot. 5th was Simon Sykes. 6th was Braden Eves. Braden able to work his way up to 6th over the last couple of laps. That was huge for him in terms of trying to get himself back up in the championship fight. Esterson, the point leader, finishing down in 9th. I'm looking forward to see how this all shakes down. Of course, when we get back from a quick break in the action here, we will talk to the race winner, Bryson Morris. Peter, before we do that, about 30 seconds to the break, what a great run for Bryson Morris.
Absolutely incredible, yeah, and really made good, one of the only guys in the front of the pack to make a good use of his grid spot. The guys behind him, Lastukin started 20th, Myers started 24th, and Dylan Christie in 23rd. So who says qualifying's important?
Well, I think, again, we talked about this. Patience was important in this particular racetrack. You had to get to the end, and Bryson Morris, tremendous job. Morris ends up with the race win, and we will talk to him after this break.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Rickmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Expert support. Rickmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go. rickmotech.com.
Your great-grandma used to tell Uncle Cooper the best stories, like Goldilocks and the Cooper tires. The Coopers are just right. Goldie's no sucker. What a lady. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Back live here from Iowa Speedway and another thrilling TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries presented by Cooper Tires event. That one was wild from the start to the absolute finish. We had different drivers battling for the lead. Bottom groove, top groove, Peter, everything we could have wanted. Bryson Morris, look at the margin of victory, just 0.08 of a second over Nikita Lastukin. Michael Myers closed up to within 3 seconds at the end. Tremendous run for Michael Myers. Dylan Christie in 4th and Simon Sykes in 5th. And I think big, maybe even bigger, Braden Eves able to get up on Esterson by 3 points. Didn't lose that much in the championship battle.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be funny looking at the points and see how it all shakes out, because it has been a crazy night here at Iowa. But we did say it midway through the race that Bryson Morris was just so solid throughout that race. He looked the most comfortable in that front group.
Well, we've got some drivers in our staging room to join us here in the Cooper Tire broadcast booth. Let's start with Nikita Lastishkin. Nikita, that was, I think you were in a great spot there because you were watching the chaos in front of you. As everybody started to get out of the way, you ended up being able to battle for the race win. Just give me your thoughts right now on challenging Bryson there for the victory in race 2.
Yes, so thank you, Rob. I have to say a huge thank you to Adam Crane, my spotter, who's been helping me out. And he basically was just telling me to run the bottom the whole time and wait for the carnage. And obviously it did happen. And then it's so hard to make the move stick around the outside. Just make a run on the leader that, thank God we didn't crash out. And congrats to Bryson Morris for winning the race. But yeah, it's a wild one out there.
You're the first guy we've been able to talk to this evening. Obviously, you never know the setup until really you come here. What was the setup like? What were the conditions like? It seems like a number of drivers having some trouble, especially early on cold tires.
Yeah, actually, I got so I think I got contacted in race 1, and then on the restart I spun. But I see a lot of people just spinning out on their own. I don't know if they're hitting the brakes. I mean, the car is definitely bottoming quite a lot, but it's the same for everybody. And it is definitely tricky, especially trying to make the run work and racing people side by side. But you just got to be careful.
You put a lot of pressure on Bryson there over the last couple of laps. You were going low, you were going high, trying to fill the mirrors. Did you think you could maybe make the move stick on the top, or was the bottom just the place to be?
To be honest, I honestly wish I was. Once again, thank you to Adam Crane. He made me finish the race, but I was ready to go, man. I wanted to make a move so much earlier, and there was a couple of moments with like 5 minutes to go, but we just played it safe. But honestly, if the person is just staying on the bottom, it's incredibly hard. You have to wait for a mistake or for some traffic to get in the way of the leader.
Well, listen, nonetheless, congratulations. Great run. You stayed out of trouble and put some excitement into the race for us at the end. Well done.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you very much.
Nikita Lastishkin, folks, we're going to see him in Indy Lights this year for HMD Motorsports, and a great run for him. Peter, I'm going to pass it over to this guy here because we thought that maybe Michael Myers was going to be able to work his way up to battle for the lead, but nonetheless, second podium here in the 2021 eSeries for Michael Myers.
Yeah, Michael, welcome to the commentary box here in the Cooper Tires commentary box. What a race that was. Now, just in the final stages there, you were maybe 2 or 3 seconds down the road. Could you see the drivers dropping off one by one from the lead group?
Oh, I saw it all. I was just trying to dodge everything. Honestly, that was pretty stressful. I can't lie.
It certainly looked like it. I mean, tell us a little bit about, being in the heart of the pack. You started that last race there from 24th in the pack. I mean, how hard is it to avoid it? Because there was cars spinning off everywhere. I mean, how did you do it?
I don't know. I just kind of pedaled down and put my head down and tried to avoid everything as much as possible. And obviously it paid off pretty well. I told Stream I'm just gonna try and play it safe this race and just make it through the mess a little bit, and it seemed to pay off pretty well. And I can't complain.
It certainly did, and I tell you what, we've been keeping you guys on your toes here in the Road to Indy TireRack.com eSeries, because we've been to the big road course at Road America, we've been on the streets of Detroit, we've had the oval here. I mean, do you have a speciality, or what have you enjoyed the most between the 3 courses?
Definitely Road America has been my favorite so far. I've never been the best at the big drafting tracks, but I'm starting to adapt to it fairly well because I ran in the Lucas Oil Championship Series before. Those are no downforce cars. And coming into the USF, I'm learning pretty well, and I think I'm adapting to the big draft tracks even better. So Road America was fun. I really enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to the next ones.
Oh, we certainly are looking forward to watching you there. And Michael, we're heading into a new racing season very soon. Do you have any plans that you can share with us for your racing this year?
Nothing right now. We got the car sitting in the garage, but no money to get it on track. So we're working on that. I'm working really hard every single day to make it happen, but I got good supporters behind me, a bunch of local businesses, but I just don't have the big chunk of the budget to get on track yet. So that's the goal. I'm working every day, every night to make it happen. So we'll see.
Well, you keep never give up, Michael. And anyone watching want to help out a young driver? There you go. You've seen your talent tonight, Michael. Well done. A great drive to third spot, and looking forward to seeing you again here.
Hey, don't go away yet, Michael, because we got to give you one thing as well. I just got the call. You also win the Saybelt Hard Charger Award, 21 position improvement in race number 2. Man, you're the Hard Charger.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Peter and Rob.
Well done, Peter. What a fantastic run there for Michael Myers. And again, a
Awesome.
second podium finish. Great job for him as well. Overall, for those of you just right now, if you're tuning in, remember, head over to the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel. We'll have a post-race show there as well as we get ready to cap things up here for Rev TV. Peter, man, you know, the opening lap chaos is kind of what we didn't want to see. But everything shook back down into exactly what we wanted from Iowa, and that was these are super close races, a lot of strategy, and the guys from behind trying to put the pressure on the guy in front to make that just one mistake.
Oh, both of those races, once we kind of once we thinned the field out a little bit, those two groups that we had in race 1 and race 2, Rob, that was edge of the seat action and just so exciting to watch. Who needs a big long track? 7/8 of a mile, that's all you need for some great racing.
I agree with you, man. I love the oval stuff, and I think, again, we talked about it at the very start. That's what the Road to Indy and the IndyCar program is all about. So many different opportunities, different disciplines of motorsports. It's not just sprint racing around a road course. We're talking natural terrain, street circuits, and then here on the oval as well. And that's the kind of racing you get. The drivers really get a chance to learn car control, patience, and respect for their fellow drivers when you're racing on a facility like this.
Indeed, and I guess another thing as well is setup, because it's not a different car. It's the same car they take to every track, and you have to throw a completely different textbook at it to get it to work right, and that's where that experience comes in. And of course, being with the right team, being in with the right organization is critical in this type of motorsport. Yeah,
and it probably shouldn't really be that much of a surprise that we see certain drivers that are almost oval experts, right? You look at a Tony Kanaan, some of these guys that have really become, kind of masters at the oval art form, because that's exactly what it is. It's an art form. You have to trust in it. You have to love it to be fast at it. If you're nervous, if you're scared of it, you just can't be fast.
Well, you listen to a lot of drivers who consider IndyCar, and a lot of them say, "Oh no, I don't want to do the ovals. I'm only going to do the road courses." And I think there's part of it is maybe the danger, Rob. But I think also as part of it is that it's such a hard skill, and if you're behind, it's going to take you a long time to pick it up.
Yeah, and that's why we get the drivers to do it in USF 2000. The first opportunity for those drivers to really get into the oval is at Lucas Oil Raceway, that Freedom 75 for USF 2000, the Freedom 90, again, for Indy Pro 2000. Of course, the Freedom 100 was massive for the drivers in Indy Lights. Hopefully, we'll get that back one day. So, race fans, if you want to join us for the remainder of our post-race show, head over right now to the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel. We're going to be lining up more drivers to chat with. We'll also take an opportunity to preview next week's venues. Of course, kudos to tonight's winners. Bryson Morris having a tremendous run here in race number 2. It was just good to see these guys go at it, race in and race out. The racing here in Iowa was most definitely edge-of-your-seat stuff, and we look forward to doing it all over again next week. So join us back here on Rev TV next Wednesday night for round 4 of the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries presented by Cooper Tires, as the drivers will head west to the legendary WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca and the famous Corkscrew. On behalf of everyone from Road to Indy TV and the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires, Apex Racing TV, and my broadcast partner Peter McKay, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.
I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. So go with the Coopers. Cooper!
So, we buy shoes online, and socks, and shoe socks, and baby food, dog food, parrot food, gardening tools, art supplies, college classes, scarf, the scarf tube, sleeping bag suit? Yeah. So why not buy tires online? TireRack.com is North America's largest online retailer of tires. Find, buy, then have them shipped to one of our trusted independent installers for safe, easy installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Online with all that other stuff.
Your great-grandma used to tell Uncle Cooper the best stories, like Goldilocks and the Cooper tires.
The Coopers are just right. Goldie's no sucker.
What a lady. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Welcome back to Iowa Speedway for the post-race show of the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries presented by Cooper Tires. I'm Rob Howden, joined by Peter McKay, and we have a number of drivers lined up to chat with and finally able to get them dialed in here and bringing them into the Cooper Tire broadcast booth. What a tremendous race two for Bryson Morris. Bryson, congratulations. Probably learned a bit from race number one, but man, dude, holding the bottom line, pressured like crazy. Congratulations on a big win.
Thank you. Yeah, and the first race was actually not even that good because I had a bit of technical issues, so I couldn't start.
Okay.
So I started a couple laps down. But yeah, it's definitely a fun and exciting race, and like the top six being up super close, and then it just kind of phased out towards the end, and it was really good racing.
Let's talk mid-race, though, there, because we were, of course, on the edge of our seats trying to call it. You were right there, kind of P3. Hunter Yeany was leading. Andre Castro kept trying the second groove, was trying the over-under. It seemed like you were kind of biding your time. You think about making a move, but maybe hold back a little bit. And then all of a sudden, little issue for Yeany up top, contact, you find yourself as a leader. I'm not sure how many times that's happened in your racing career, but it's definitely nice to happen here.
Yeah, it was definitely nice, and in the middle of the race, I mean, I would have made a move if it was safe to do so. But really, I just saw how I saw they were racing, and I knew something was going to happen, so I was just gonna wait it out. And luckily, for me at least, it did happen in the end.
So you take the lead, and I think one of the cool factors is Nikita Lastishin was kind of there as well. He kind of took your spot and Castro's spot, really putting the pressure on, trying the high line. Did you know how close he was to you for most of that second half of the race?
I did, yes. I could see him through the virtual mirror on iRacing. But I mean, I saw what they were doing for the first half of the race, the 1 and 2, and I was in third, and I saw that it was working pretty well. So I really just copied it, and it did work out pretty well.
Well, very nice. Of course, we're heading to Laguna Seca next Wednesday for that race. What are your thoughts on Laguna? You got any track time there?
Not in real life, but I have I'd say a couple hundred laps around it in the sim.
All
And
right.
I like the track, but we'll see how it goes.
Hey, Bryson, congratulations. Really tremendous run all race long. You had the patience and the consistency to kind of bide your time. It paid off for you. Well done. Race 2 victory here at Iowa.
Thank you.
Bryson Morris, again, tremendous run for him. And the action we saw up front with those drivers, just tremendous to watch. Peter, that was the kind of racing we were hoping for.
Oh, it really was. Yeah, it was absolutely thrilling. And of course, it seems like race one was such a long time ago, but of course, it was only about 40 minutes ago. And we have our winner from race one, James Davison. James, welcome to the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center. Tell us about your day there at Iowa Speedway.
Yeah, obviously it was a bit of drive to survive and then managing the race once I got out front. So I was a little cautious at the beginning not to go loose or drive the car into too much understeer. I guess we saw how both ends of the car could catch people out there in the beginning phase, especially when the whole field was together. And managed to have a good run through the traffic. Then just had to manage the race. So yeah, it was an exciting race. I was looking forward, honestly, to race 2, but yeah, obviously there was the spin there on the second lap, and a bunch of us got taken out. But yeah, it was good fun.
I tell you what, it was certainly good fun for Rob and I to call the races, James. Now, James, of course, you're very much a legend of the road to Indy, going through Star Mazda and Indy Lights. I mean, how important has the road to Indy been in your kind of ladder up through your career?
Yeah, very. I mean, so I did the Indy Pro 2000 when it was called Star Mazda, and I did that with Dane Cameron, who of course has gone on to be very successful in sports cars. And he and I were rivals in 2007 there. And then as a result of having a good year there, I remember getting an email from Sam Schmidt, who ran the top Indy Lights team at the time, and inviting me to do a shootout in his Indy Lights cars at Sebring, and not needing to bring budget to do it, which is obviously a big step in your career, even before you can get paid, to not have to bring some money. So that was a good development, and obviously that middle step of the road to Indy helped me to the next one. And the test went well, and yeah, I did, you know, a season of Indy Lights, and then ended up driving my second season for Tony George's team, Vision Racing, you may remember. So yeah, I have good memories there. We had 28 cars on the grid at the Freedom 100 and St. Pete there in 2008 and 9 at times. So they were really good days, and you know, growing up racing with Hinch and Kimball and Hildebrand and all of that, and obviously it just gets you, you know, in the mix to try and make your start in IndyCar. And of course the 500's what we all work on doing, and yeah, just never gave up after 4 years and all of that. And then just slowly something happens, you know, build a relationship up with Dale Coyne or what have you, and there it is, you know. So yeah, the road to Indy were great times. I did Formula BMW actually before Star Mazda, and I did that with Robert Wickens. So yeah, I remember these years that all these young drivers are going through, being a teenager and having to make mistakes and just learning and growing. And they're great years. You know, you've got your whole dream ahead of you, and they're stressful, but, you know, they are very exciting years of your life.
Indeed, yeah, it was wonderful to hear all about it, and that kind of kudos it carries with you your whole career as well. Now, final question for me, James. I wonder if Rob might have some, but I noticed looking through your stats that you had a run in the Chili Bowl last year. Now, that is going to be one of the events that's top of my bucket list. Tell us about that experience and how that is getting out in the dirt in the midgets.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did it a pretty backward way through my main supporter, Bird Racing. Yeah, I had an opportunity to do it. It was my first race ever on dirt and the first time I'd ever driven a midget. So, I mean, it's like literally going to the Super Bowl having never played football before.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate to drive a lot of different cars, you know, sports cars, NASCAR, IndyCar, a bit of USAC stuff with Silver Crown or what have you. But racing on dirt was the one thing that all of the experience I'd gained racing anything else had no relevance at all to racing on dirt. I mean, it's so different. But it was really cool to just give it a go. Me and Santino Ferrucci gave it a go and didn't care, you know, if we didn't run so well. You just had to swallow your pride a lot. And yeah, I'd love to go back and do it. So we'll see.
Well, if you do, I'll come and clean the wheels because that sounds like a lot of fun. Going to have a go at the at the Chili Bowl. James, thanks so much for coming to join us in the commentary box here. Well done on the win, and good luck for Laguna next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys. See you later.
Yeah, James, definitely one of the guys that's been fun to watch going through the ranks. Actually, the year that he was running with Robert Wickens in Formula BMW, I was the announcer for that series as well, and there was a ton of young talent in that Formula BMW USA series. I'll tell you that for sure, Peter. But, you know, I was going to say, yeah, you know what? Let's wrap things up here. We've got one more guy. It's cool to bring him in here because Carmine Caruso, who was the winner of the WKE series back in round number 2, ran with us at Detroit, but didn't have the experience we wanted, didn't get a chance to run very much. So we invited him back to run here at Iowa. Carmine, that was a good call because you put on a show in race number 1. How much fun was that?
Oh, it was tons of fun. I couldn't be more thankful for the opportunity to come back to the Road to Indy eSeries just for this one round back at Iowa, and I couldn't. I had so much fun. It's I'm still shaking actually. It was a lot of fun tonight.
I was gonna say, Carmine, I think I would have been shaking too. I was watching you the way kind of where you were, you know, with Davison at the bottom and then Kaiser right there with them. You guys right there in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's like you were always testing the waters of where there was grip on the racetrack. I'm sure that you must have been gripping that steering wheel like crazy.
Oh no, definitely. I'm glad to have a good base that, you know what, they can definitely withhold
That's it.
the pressure in my hands. But yeah, as for testing the waters with the car, just really finding a way to slot into 3rd there in the earlier section was interesting, only because I was running the high side going into 1 and then sweeping down into the middle of the corner by the time we were getting into the entrance of turn 2 and turn 4. But yeah, I love the car. I love being back at Iowa. Iowa was probably a second favorite, close favorite to Charlotte Motor Speedway, and then Yeah, other than that, it was game on from race 1, and then from race 2. Unfortunately, we were taken out on lap 2, but nothing really else we can do there. Just super thankful to be back.
You know, we actually picked up that you were making some different lines coming through turns 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. You know, trying to get high and sweep it back down a little bit. We haven't really asked anybody much about aero wash, but was that something that you had to deal with a little bit? Was there aero wash when you got up behind somebody?
Oh, definitely. I've found that like when we were in that 5-car train for the lead pack, and when I was at the tail end or when I was running in fourth, and there were the 4 cars in front of me, I had to lift off a bunch for the first half of the corner, and then it was getting right back to the throttle, just only to to keep the car in the right position, trying to stay in that train,
Yeah.
not trying to wash up to the top of the track.
Well, I'll tell you, my friend, you did a great job once again doing the WK proud. Congratulations on a great run there in race 1. It was good to have you back. I'm glad you got a chance to do some racing as opposed to sitting on pit lane like you did in Detroit. So, thankfully for that, and thanks for putting on a show for us.
Thank you, Mr. Howden. Thank you, Mr. McKay.
Carmine Caruso, folks, for the WKA, winner of the second round of their eSeries, having him back. Jarrett Schwartz, who won round 3, didn't have a really good outing either. I think he got caught up in both of the opening lap wrecks. We might have to get Jarrett back next weekend as well. Want these guys to have an opportunity to race with our drivers, Peter. And when you have opening lap incidents and you keep collecting guys, it's just not always going to happen.
Yeah, it's that, as they say, that is racing, but it sometimes it can really grate your grate your patience. And well, we saw there when Carmen, it's brilliant that we got him back this week, because when he got in that front group, my goodness me, did he make his name shining lights, didn't he, Rob? I mean, that was just amazing to watch. And he was not content to sit behind James Davison. He's like, I'm gonna go be all around you like a wasp. And it was just it. And you know what? That's what, when you're trying to build a fan base, that's one way to get yourself noticed. You're thinking, I like that guy. He tries things.
And, and that was part of the partnership that we put together with the World Karting Association. Same thing we're doing with having our RTI prospects as well, bringing some of the young guns of karting, some of the guys that are going to be, in those programs that lead into USF 2000, give them a chance to maybe put their name and their performances in front of the team owners here in the Road to Indy. And I think we've seen lots of that, obviously, right? Bryson Morris, driver we hope to get in the Road to Indy next year. He definitely put on a show. Carmine Caruso, a tremendous drive for him as well. Same with Dean Dibdahl in our first race at Road America. He definitely turned some heads. We'll see Dean back as well as the champion of the WK eSeries. He's going to be running in our 5th event this year, which is our last race of the series. Otherwise, Peter, we're going to wrap things up here from Iowa Speedway. Final thoughts before we cap it off?
Well, my final thoughts were that was, quite honestly, was a privilege to call. I mean, races like that make our job very, very easy, because that was just so exciting and brilliant to see some new faces running up the front. We thought that might have been the case going on to the Oval, and Iowa really provided a fantastic venue for that. But looking ahead, going to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, well, I have to say I'm part of the Gran Turismo generation, and I did more laps than I would care to admit on around this track on the original Gran Turismo games, and it now lives on the top level of sim racing on iRacing, and this is just one of the superb tracks anywhere in the world. And as you know, Rob, I'm a big MotoGP fan, and there's been a couple of great MotoGP moments here as well.
Yes, there have. We're excited to get out there. Indy Lights will cap off the 2021 season racetrack. As we talk a little bit about Laguna Seca, we'll take a trip around. This track is one of the ones really it's iconic in terms of American motorsports as you work your way through turns 2 and 3 here. Again, I'm over to the corkscrew. This is a track I think is going to be really interesting. It's another one that's pretty tough to pass on, very similar to a Mid-Ohio, where there's not a lot of opportunities for those hard-braking passing maneuvers. There are some, turn 5 being one as well, turn 6, maybe into the carousel, but of course turn number 11, the final corner on the racetrack. We've went to so many different tracks, Road America, Detroit, Iowa. This is going to be one, again, that's going to separate the field because it really is tough to lay down a fast lap here.
It definitely is, and I think where we'll really have to focus on is qualifying, because as you rightly said, Rob, if you can, the overtaking maneuvers are so hard to make here at Laguna. It's an amazing driving track, so you've got to try and dig. A lot of the drivers, I'm sure they'll be working really hard on their qualifying runs to get that vital grid position, because if you don't get it, there's two things. One, it's hard to make the way forward, but also you're really running the risk of getting involved in incidents, which we've seen quite a lot. But just flow at Warwick going through Rainy Curve there, that's one of my favourite corners, the corner left-hander after the corkscrew. I mean, wow. And in these Tata's Indy Pro 2000 cars, the lightweight, the nimble nature, the drivers are in for a treat.
And I think you're right. Qualifying is going to be absolutely key. Like you said, we've got Max Esterson coming in as the point leader. We'll see how everything shakes down because there's a bunch of drivers that were able to get some really solid finishes. Remember, one drop as well. You're allowed to drop one race if you have a bad one. So we'll see what happens all told when we end up getting to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. It's round number 4 of this Road to Indy E-Series. Again, big thank you to TireRack.com for being the sponsor of our program this year. Cooper Tire is always a big supporter. But Peter, we are essentially done here. Laguna Seca is going to be next. This is a race that I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, and me too. I mean, it's going to be great to watch. I would think that Max Esterson and Braden Eves, they'll be going to bed tonight, maybe a little bit frustrated that their time on the Iowa Oval didn't go their way. But I suspect, Rob, that they're going to settle the score at Laguna. They're going to be the guys to watch for.
Yeah, we'll see who steps up. We know some drivers had some issues here. Of course, Matt Clark had some great runs early. He struggled a bit with a couple of incidents. We saw drivers fall to the tail of the field. Incident for Daniel Frost being one of them. Andre Castro stepping up a little bit. Good to see Hunter Yeany come to the forefront as well. I expect him to be a challenger this year in the Indy Pro 2000 category. Bottom line is we have a tremendous group of drivers from all 3 of the Road to Indy series, the RTI prospects, and it's been great having our World Karting Association drivers come in as well. They have really starred in all of our races thus far. It'll be Will Salisbury at Laguna Seca as the round 4 winner from the WKA. We're going to cap things off here, folks, from Iowa Speedway. Our next event, as we said, Wednesday, February 17th. On behalf of Peter McKay, my name's Rob Howden. Thank you for tuning in.
An important decision is afoot. This man is about to buy tires on TireRack.com. Tire Rack is the leading online retailer of tires in North America and a repository of advice and expert reviews. And it's done! All that's left is to arrange for safe, easy installation at one of our independent recommended installers. Well, I guess he did that too. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.